How you doing? Yeah, probably expect a professional intro, but it's just me and my graham crackers in this cool light. You listen to Drag the Leg. It's gonna be a good one. We'll talk about Avenged Sevenfold. I also gotta let you know what we're talking about next week. Well, you may like to know that Thrice and the Starting Line, they both put out albums recently, and we're gonna listen to them and we're gonna talk about them. So you have fun with that. But today is Avenged Sevenfold. Enjoy, you piece of shit.
I mean, yes, Lemaire. All right, everything okay?
Yeah, I have no idea what that was. There was some kind of loud noise, and both cats freaked out and ran away. And I went out there to look, and I was like, I have no idea what it was.
All right, I was getting worried. You were gone for a while.
Well, I also took that. I did a PP and get some more
Diarrhea.
coffee. Yeah, the DD and a PP.
Yeah.
Diarrhea, dookie, and a pyorrhea PP.
Well, they were just complimenting me, so I was soaking
nice.
it. I was soaking it in, going exactly, 100% right. I am the.
Yeah.
I am the best.
Go on.
Go on. Say what everyone should have been saying this whole time.
Obviously.
You wanna talk about music?
Sure.
When the circle gets bigger when you burp. I'm leaving. Okay, that's staying in. That's so funny. I got a timestamp. That's we know when that is. Burp. Dude, whenever we have a burp, we gotta.
I'm gonna. Oh,
wait. How did you do? No, god damn it!
I'm switching it. There we go.
How did you? Fuck.
Right there.
Wait, how do you turn off the?
I just turned my camera off, just at the bottom. The same part right next to the screen share. Bae. What's up, bae? Let's be the talking circles in the morning. Hey, Andy. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, why you get big with me? Wait, go a little slower.
That's not slower, that's faster.
Just go here.
Bump.
You have a fucking rhythm.
Well, we're also we're in different parts of the country right now.
Yes, you're in Australia eating a chicken burger. Welcome to Drag the Lake. I am one of your hosts, Andy Malafrino. With me, as always, the late great Pat George. How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing all right. I feel better now. I feel like I got some of my body dysmorphia out of the way, and I didn't need surgery. So dude, I will say, there was
what was that?
Just a little bit. There was a shirt that Alan. Remember Alan Massenberg from back in PA?
Yeah.
Stand-up comic from out there. He makes like crazy merch. Like, we're talking about. You want to talk about bands with merch? We're talking about bands with merch. This guy's got crazy merch. But one piece of merch that he made that I particularly loved. He made a lot of word shirts, and one of them said, "Confidence is cheaper than surgery." And that's the one that I would always wear to the gym.
Fuck.
You fucking didn't do it.
That's cool. That's a cool motivational shirt.
Right. And I go, like, aren't you a comic though? I still like the shirt.
Oh wow, that's just like good advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I always say whenever a joke doesn't work on a mic. I just go like, "Oh, that's just a good point, isn't it?"
Yeah. No, I do that. Oh, dude, I do that all the time. When a joke's not working yet, I go, okay, I was like, that's on me. That's not funny, but like, I'm making a good point,
it's
right?
Real. That's a real thing, right?
Yeah. I was like, I've just gotten this joke to good point. I haven't actually made it funny yet.
Yeah, I've only just reached good point. I need to make sure I get it to a great bit.
Yes. But, you know it, but there was a great,
good.
There was because I've been listening to a great bit of music.
I I've been listening to half of great music.
Okay, that's what I
Here we
was
go.
that's what I was very curious about with. So today we are talking about, and I've read the name of this album about 7 times on stream, and I keep forgetting the fucking name of it, Waking the Fallen.
Really? That's the
So
one you forget?
yeah, I don't know. Well, City of Evil comes out. Okay, I'm very curious your opinions because you are still holding on to some sort of grudge on City of Evil. I can hear it already.
Yeah.
And to be Waking the Fallen, no, I don't know what it is. I think For the Fallen keeps popping into my head. I just keep forgetting Waking the Fallen. That's not to say I didn't like it. I liked it a lot. Preview on my opinions. I liked it a lot. But listening to this, I had so many. I don't know where to start exactly. And you're the bigger Avenged Sevenfold fan than I am, so you might be able to give me context on a lot of this stuff. I just had so many opinions about this, and we'll get to them. You know what? The first one I want to start off with, because I think both of these albums were fantastic.
Yeah.
I was not prepared, and I know their drummer, R.I.P. The Rev, he wrote a shitload of their early shit when he was still alive, and then he passed away, and then they had a new,
And then he wrote some by Ouija board.
and then he, and then the writing process obviously changed, and then I was not prepared for how insanely bad the fall off was. Because like I was listening to these albums, I always associated Avenged Sevenfold with very talented butt rock. That's what I always associated them with. And then I'm listening to these albums and I go, oh yeah, they used to be a metalcore band. Like legitimately, just straight up front to back, used to be a metalcore band.
Yeah.
And then City of Evil, I think, is still in the same vibe, but it's substantially more rock and roll oriented. And I go, now I'm curious, like, what's their other shit? And it's like instantaneously, the 180 from really good rock and roll metalcore music to absolute utter butt rock. I will say this, I listened to a little bit of their newest album, pretty good, but for the most part, it's insane how aggressive it's insane how aggressively they shift to like dog shit mainstream music.
Imagine experiencing this real time as a fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, just imagine.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not even this.
And
is
that's
not
what I
even
wanted to.
This is not a matter of sellout, by the way, either. I want to make that clear. Yeah.
Here, wait, real quick. I'm going to let you go off, King. But this is also what I wanted to ask you about because, like, me looking back at this, I look back at this and Waking the Fallen's very good, but it was like early to all the metalcore shit. And then it sounds like every fucking band under the sun ripped Avenged Sevenfold off. So it doesn't hit the same. For me, City of Evil actually had like from starting now going back, City of Evil, in my opinion, ages way better than Waking the Fallen. Now, that's not their fault because everyone ripped them off, but I could see going into it being like, I like Waking the Fallen, and then when you're given City of Evil, you're like, wait, what the fuck just happened? But anyway, now please go off, King.
So in real time, like I was somebody who was exposed to Avenged Sevenfold through the Waking the Fallen, but the album, the song off of that album, that the single essentially, the hit. God damn it.
Is it the one with the metalcore riff?
Unholy Confessions, yeah. So
because that's what Avenged Sevenfold needs credit for, is they wrote the metalcore riff.
Yeah. And that's okay. So that's the point, is what I experienced now going back and re-listening to these albums. There was a lot of rumors and stuff back in the day of like plenty of times where like we didn't have, to me, it wasn't as accessible. Like I would try, I'd like read AP magazine or I'd do whatever, but
AP
or whatever it was, but it wasn't as much to me. I wasn't getting as much of my news from online and stuff like that. So, and then this is what, like, even I think City of Evil came out in 2005. So like, even before that, I saw the video for Unholy Confessions and I was just like, what is this? Got the album and was like, front to back, this album is like, it is a standout. And it's honestly, I feel like their only their only like perfectly timeless work that they've done, like Avenged Sevenfold, and even sounding the seventh trumpets or whatever, they're still not there. Like that's their first album. This one was like them to reach their prime and their peak so early. It just kept me like, but it made me feel like, okay, so what happened to City of Evil? Because in real time, I got exposed to that song, became a like a die-hard Avenged Sevenfold fan. So much so that like the day that City of Evil came out, I went to Best Buy, got the fucking copy, went in my car, put it in the fucking CD player, and it was like, huh? Like I wasn't even upset. I was genuinely confused to think like, did I accidentally get like a Motley Crue album or like a fucking like what is this? Like it
Wait,
didn't make
did Guns N' Roses start writing good music?
right. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't. Yeah, Guns N' Roses is a great example. Like they just sound like all these hair metal bands. They're
Well,
still a metal band, but like the switch, the change from this to this was like it was truly confusing. Then to hear what I heard rumor wise was that M Shadows, the lead singer of Avenged Sevenfold, was like talking shit. No, he was saying that at the time, he was saying how they were just doing this because it was like, they were just trying to profit off of medical, like just essentially just kind of like they were kind of like heels, wrestling heels. Like that's how they were talking, was like,
so they were saying Waking the Fallen.
that's what I heard. That's what I
Okay.
heard. They were saying that. What I
Through the
think now,
grapevine, or did you watch an interview?
that was through a grapevine. So,
Okay.
but at the time took it as fact, and then it became a fact in my head for the longest time, was that he like essentially disowned that version of Avenged Sevenfold and was like, this is actually how we were supposed to be.
Which happens with bands, and funny enough, it kind of like hurts them long term. That's kind of what 4 Year Strong did. 4 Year Strong started off being like, oh, we're gonna be super high energy pop punk easy core, we're gonna have synthesizers, and then they're just like, oh yeah, we actually don't like that bullshit. And now everyone's like, yeah, 4 Year Strong's pretty good, but could you do the thing we loved that you did?
Right.
Wonder Years was a similar thing. They came out as a joke. They started out as like a joke band writing songs about Captain Crunch and the Kool-Aid Man. And then they're just like, actually, fuck that. We're going to do very serious. And now Wonder Years is way better, but it is this thing where I think a lot of bands go through that, where sometimes for the first 3 albums or so, they're like going through an identity crisis. And then by the 4th or 5th, they're like, no, this is actually what we want to be.
Yeah. I think, and so, and
they chose butt rock.
And that's what I'm saying is like, okay, well, he's like, this has always been who we are, blah, blah, blah. Then this is what I've heard. Then later on, now like kind of going back and trying to find him saying any of that.
Yeah.
I could not find, I didn't find anything, but he definitely goes around. It definitely seems like he's like fucking around with the fans, because it seems like the thing that I realized that changed was they took the core out. They're just a metal band, a butt rock metal band. And going back and hearing like, oh, he actually blames himself for fucking his voice up on that album, and he couldn't actually handle metalcore vocals essentially, because he wasn't actually warming up and projecting, and he was not performing correctly, and he damaged his chords, so that he ended up having to, now is because like the next album and even going forward, his vocals sound so tight.
Well, that's what I noticed on City of Evil. Yeah, the vocals are a little bit different, and there's literally zero screaming on it. Now, I will say this, in 03, like giving people benefit of the doubt, in early 2000s, a lot of these metalcore bands were figuring it out. Like, you listen to that interview with Davey Havok. That obviously AFI is not metalcore, but they used to be like a hardcore punk band, and so he was doing a lot of screaming. And you listen to that interview with Davey Havok. Davey Havok said in that, he was like, I thought if it hurt when you were done, you did it right. And a thing, now I'm not a singer, but from what I've gathered is like a lot of times where dudes fuck up their voice is like they sing from their throat when you're apparently supposed to like sing from your diaphragm.
Yeah.
And so it is funny. You hear a lot of these bands that had these like great screamy songs in the early 2000s and then they just went away. And it's like, I wonder how many, because that was always the thing. That was always the thing where I know for me, because I never listened to Avenged Sevenfold like this, but I knew people who would tell me like their early shit was really good.
Yeah.
And because I remember my friend group, like we always just accepted that Avenged Sevenfold turned into butt rock because the dude fucked his voice up. So you weren't like as critical of them, but dudes were fucking their voice up. Cause if you listen to old metalcore from the early 2000s, it's like drastically different because everyone's kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. Is like it almost feels like they were like they couldn't necessarily cut it as a metalcore band, but the direction and the longevity that they were looking for was something else. Like they weren't looking for, because that's the thing is they made a choice. I feel like was like we're not going to continue down this metalcore path. We're going to go down it wasn't necessarily, I wouldn't even say selling out. It was literally just a business decision.
We don't want to do that no more.
We're not going to do that anymore. So if we try to do this there, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, so, but in listening back now, City of Evil, I don't even necessarily hate the album. And the reason I felt like I hated it back then was because it was so drastically different. If you listen, like, again, we listened to these back to back. If you listen to these, each one of them, they even take some of, like, you can take elements, like some of the harmonies that they used in Waking the Fallen, as well as, like, I believe a couple of the riffs they take and kind of modify a little bit and reuse in City of Evil. So it's not even like, I feel like they almost used Waking the Fallen as an EP to like, and they saw how big it blew up. And they're like, well, if we go mainstream, we're going to blow up mainstream. And they were right. Like they bet on themselves and they did, because they didn't lose their songwriter Rev, I guess, until 2009.
Yeah.
So 2005. So they got at least a couple releases before
they still made away. Well, and that's the interesting part, because I do think, based off what you said about how his like alleged, because you said you couldn't find what's up.
Sorry.
No, was there a good comment?
Yeah, this caught my eye.
Funny enough, this came in your eye. Funny enough, he still to this day fucks his shit up, and they recently postponed a bunch of dates because of his throat.
And recently, I saw I saw the interview recently. I don't know how when it was done, but him and M Shadows and Finn McGinty, and he asked him to rank his. By the way, also I know we've said it plenty of times on the show. Fuck Finn McGinty.
Oh yeah,
but,
no,
like,
I saw
it was such a stupid. He goes like, your list, your list is kind of like, it's terrible. I gotta tell you. But M Shadows ranks Waking the Fallen at top of the list.
Oh really?
I don't know if he's trolling or if he's just in retrospect. He's like, it's just how I felt that day. He's like, literally, I think I wanted to listen to that one the most. And that's the thing, is it's not City of Evil. I don't think it's a bad album, but I just think it's, real quick? Out of the two, I like the Waking the Fallen. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but also, yes, fuck Finn McGinty.
Yeah.
That was just
no, that's worth it. Yeah.
Well, no, dude, legit. I saw him tweet the other day where someone was talking about his music taste, and he's like, "Thank you so much." No one says stuff like this. It's like, no, you gave up to go multi-level market on LinkedIn. Yeah. Fuck off, dork.
Nobody's talking about your music taste anymore. Go on.
Hang your Vans up, gay slur.
But yeah, he's talking to him about it, and it's like they just changed. Like you're right. They turned into more of a butt rock metal band like Motley Crue or something like that. But it's also like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm jacked up on coffee.
Brother.
So excited to talk about Avenged Sevenfold because I didn't know I'd fuck with these two albums so much.
Mm-hmm.
No, so that comment you said earlier that M Shadows apparently made that you remember, I trust you. You remember it.
Yeah.
You just can't find it.
I definitely heard somebody relayed that.
Yeah. It's like our dicks. We know they're there. We just can't find them.
I can't prove it.
I know. Or
It doesn't show up on film. It's like Bigfoot. It gets all blurry. And
we
you
just
can't
have
tell.
cork boards with string going back. I know it's there. No, so but if that's his mindset, then it would make sense if it would make sense that you have Waking the Fallen.
Mhm.
Like it sounds to me that potentially their mindset is much more business oriented and a lot of bands are let's write the album and figure out how to sell it. They seem to be more conscious of the business angle, which would make sense where, okay, we're metal guys. It's 03. We should probably write a metalcore album. They write that. They get very popular off that. All right, well, we're popular now. Let's pull back the metalcore a little bit. And then they write City of Evil. It's still, in my opinion,
It's still metal.
Waking the Fallen and City of Evil still have the same vibe. But Waking the Fallen, a metalcore band wrote that. City of Evil, like you said, Motley Crue or fucking Guns N' Roses wrote that. It's still like the same guys, just with different intentions. And now City of Evil, they get fucking huge. So now they're like, let's take any edge out of our music.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that progression, if they're a much more business-minded band, because I think they only got bigger with their albums. They never fell off, sales or popularity wise.
And they didn't really change. Like, that's the thing too, is they didn't really become I don't think they really became like a ballad band. They always have been that like Motley Crue-esque
riff heavy,
Guns N' Roses, riff heavy, like we're like hair metal, like not like it's not that like I don't even think they were trying to necessarily like revive hair metal, but that definitely was like the characters that they were for a while. They were like doing like the teased hair and fucking makeup and weird shit.
Yeah, because that was much more normal in like the early 2000s. Dude, I gotta say this too, because I was thinking about it when we were talking about Kill Switch Engage. What album was that? End of Heartbreak?
End of Heartache, yeah.
End of Heartache. When did that album come out?
I think 2003. 04.
Brother, like listening to these albums, I go, dude, when it came to like rock and metal, we were so spoiled with mainstream music. Because I gotta be honest, for like there's definitely we were talking on the pre-show, fucking heating up the Parmesan and scooping it off. This City of Evil has a hard layer of cheese all over top of it. But at its core, it's like, dude, it got me to give a shit about guitar solos. I do not fucking care about guitar solos, but the way they were doing it there, the way that like they were making like a 6-minute song really groove and then just hit you with a long guitar solo and then the guitars doing harmonics and all this other shit. Like the intricacies that were involved in a mainstream rock album were blowing me out of the fucking water on this.
I do appreciate that. And that's the thing is the conclusion I came to after listening to these back to back is still that Waking the Fallen is still start to finish a perfect album. It is beautiful. I love that album. And he's even talking about possibly there's reports that I've seen where he said they're never going to remix it. They're never going to remaster it. Nothing like that. But then he said that recently, I guess that he is open to remixing, not remastering, but remixing the album to give it a fresher sound. And I was like, I would be interested in hearing that as long as I still have the original copy. So I don't have to worry about anything else. But like, if the fact that like, that at least it's getting the appreciation. But to be honest, the conclusion I came to was, I don't think they were ever ours. They were always supposed to be that. And they just did us the pleasure of writing a metalcore album before they did that, gained so much popularity. And we're like, how can we I don't even want to say profit off this, but how can we, we expose, or how can we like actually take this and actually utilize this opportunity to the best of our abilities?
I think they were more focused on like the career path.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
and that's not wrong.
They're very talented and they make really good music, but clearly they're like, you can hear it in their music. They're career minded. You know, that's why their music shifted the directions it shifted.
But it just seemed like the switch, the complete switch, it felt like a back turning is what I was saying. But I don't think they ever necessarily, they just did us the pleasure of writing. So this made me feel like, man, I would love
Can I say
to
this?
hear like other bands like Metallica. Well, we saw Metallica try a new metal band or new metal album. That didn't work. But I'd love to see other mainstream metal acts doing metalcore, a metalcore album.
Yeah.
It's specifically because if you do see the fact of like, as far as a metal butt rock band, they're pretty good. I think I like them better than Nickelback, but I don't necessarily put on anything new by Avenged Sevenfold. I
Oh,
put on
no.
Waking the Fallen. When you say I was a Avenged Sevenfold fan, I was literally from 2000.
You're a Waking the Fallen fan.
Yeah, 2005 or no, 2003. I think this came out. Right?
03.
Yeah, 03 to
No, City of Evil, I think, was
05.
03.
I think that was
Sorry,
05.
I'm on their Wikipedia. Give me 2 seconds.
All right. But like that, I was essentially a fan from
Waking the Fallen's 03, City of Evil's 05.
yeah,
You're right.
I was a fan for 2 years. That's the amount of time that I was Avenged, but I was a white hot fan of fucking Avenged Sevenfold because I was just like, this is crazy. This sounds like, but really it was just early metalcore, like you said, it was early into metalcore as a genre, and they just happened to do it so well.
Well, it's
I just don't think they could sustain. Maybe they didn't see the sustainability in that genre and was like, we have an opportunity. We're getting contacted by major labels because of the popularity. And how do we, and then probably got some advice and got some, coaching and some other things. And they were like, worked with a different producer, all this, I don't,
Here, let me say this, because I think what you were saying is like that feeling of they turned their back on me or on us. And it's kind of like, because that would make sense listening to Waking the Fallen and going, this is what this band sounds like.
This is who they are.
Yeah, and I think, and it you know what it is? It's similar conceptually about how if you look at the numbers, you go, Weezer's actually a shitty band. They go, they started out with 2.5 really good albums, and then they just wrote dog shit and occasionally had a hit once in a while.
Yeah,
I think Avenged Sevenfold is a similar thing, where they were figuring out what they wanted to be, and it wasn't until like they're self-titled in 07 where they were like, oh, this is what we're gonna be. Yeah. And ironically, this is why it's like I think the band is like so business minded, because it's weird. It's like when you wrote the most interesting shit is before you like clearly decided on who you wanted to be. That's
really cool. Yeah,
that's the fascinating part to me, is like you can not give a fuck and just end up writing. Like if I say early 2000s mainstream metalcore, Waking the Fallen is what I mean. That or the Curse by Atreyu. When I'm talking about like mainstream early 2000s metalcore, those are that's I'm listening to this going, this is what you get when you say that. And it's like, it's crazy that like you listen back to it and you go, this is the quintessential early 2000s mainstream metalcore sound. And like, from what you're saying, it sounds like they were just fucking around. That's nuts to me.
Yeah, you're right. Like for them to write such a prolific album, like as a rough draft, like on their way to writing the albums that apparently they want to. And like, considering the ones that they've been putting out for the past couple of years since Waking the Fallen, or since City of Evil on, like that's obviously the music they want to make. But it's also like, all right, well, I mean, I appreciate you guys making mainstream kind of metal-ish again, but like this, I mean, mainstream metal for the most part, especially nowadays, sucks. But like,
it's so lifeless.
Like you said, it's mainly, like you said, it's very confused. It's very confusable for butt rock. Like when, like it's not that different, I guess. And when it comes to mainstream, there's just, like you said, solos. There's no edge. There's no
Well, dude, you know
no
what was
real personality. There's no real personality. It feels like the personality they're giving. And I can't fake this. I can only feel the way your music makes me feel. Like I
Yeah.
can't, I'm not doing this in a professional
Well,
fashion.
dude.
I'm doing this as a fan, and I'm listening to the music going like, it's okay.
Dude, the pivot is fucking nuts. Like
It's nuts.
one of their most, at least from that era, their biggest song was Backcountry. And Backcountry definitely, like I was saying before, got that good layer of cheese. But I got to be honest, when the music's
double
good,
bass. It's got double
What-
bass.
well, dude, it's got, and also little things like the in the beginning where it's like dun, 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 like when he's hitting the opening line. If you really like try to like fucking be on time with that, it's actually kind of weird. The rhythm's like minorly weird, so there's like it's all very intricate and very thought out. The drums, there's a lot of times with the drums where I'd be listening to it and like this, I respect the fuck out of as a drummer because this shit's fucking hard. Where the music would cut out, and then at one point you hear the double bass just going something like that. So there's like all this shit, and then I listen to their self-titled, and you know what the opening drum part is? Like, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's very similar because that was the same. It's so funny. That was the same thing that happened with 4 Years Strong, where they have their album Rise or Die Trying, where it's all this like over the top, very intricate shit. And I wonder, I go, is it like when you do that as a band,
Yeah.
it must be so fucking daunting because
Yeah,
it's
and-
like you got to think, you have to like, oh, now I have to do that again. And I like, it's what happened to I guess this doesn't count on like the intricacy scale, but that's what happened. You know, the I forget the name of the group, but the someone that I used to know, however that fucking song goes, that the didn't have to cut me out.
Isn't it like a one name thing?
Goit, something. I think it's goiter or something like that.
Goiter.
No, but for real though, like that's literally, I think by the numbers, that might be the biggest song, like
Yeah.
the most popular song ever written, like just by the numbers. And I watched a video on it.
Gautier. That's it.
Gautier, yeah.
Yeah.
That song fucked the dude up so much because of the pressure of the second song. And I always wonder, I'm like, dude, do crushing out these albums that are just like on a different level of like intricate and thought out, does that like fry your brain for the next one to not to like have to follow that up?
Yeah, I also feel like they're like it's a thing where the creativity, it's all like you said, like them being such a business-minded band, it almost feels like they're just trying to stay, not stay relevant, but just stay like, it doesn't feel like they're writing music for the right reason. Like on Waking the Fallen, the songs that they were writing felt so much more genuine. And it feels like that it doesn't, maybe that same feeling isn't really translatable in the genre that they chose to, like, again, mainstream, they're on like Guitar Hero, they're in like fucking video games, they're in all these other things now, but like it still gets to a point where Every Time I Die was doing that too. Do you know what I mean? Like how is Every Time I Die able to have the success that they're able to have? Because I feel like for the band that they were still very successful, but I don't
definitely
see the
not
numbers.
definitely not on Avenged Sevenfold successful level. Like I think
right, exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think Every Time I Die, I think they were probably making a decent paycheck for a while, and then towards the end, they were probably clearing six figures, maybe low end. Yeah. If so like not rich, but they're living off the band the whole time.
Yeah.
I think like Avenged Sevenfold, they definitely, like City of Evil got them fucking paid.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. Wait, fuck. What was I gonna say? I don't know. It's all this Avenged Sevenfold shit is very fucking interesting. Just with like the mindset you have with music and where you go with it and any of that shit. Because I think a lot of times too. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. Because you also got to think about, there's a lot of bands who I saw this with the like metalcore, like the metalcore screamo and like the emo pop punk waves of the early 2000s. There was a vibe. I guarantee you those bands, there was a vibe where it was like, this will never end. And you see where those bands that never changed their sound, where they're at. And I'm wondering if I wonder if Avenged Sevenfold saw the writing on the walls and they're like, we can't write metalcore forever. We got to go butt rock.
And I think you're right. I think because like most likely they got to at least where like they were probably getting approached by the same management as like a Atreyu or somebody like that. Where like again, Atreyu is like the most mainstream metalcore band I can think of. But
I mean, you know, it's fun. They're another one where
I hated Atreyu.
See, you know me, I love that pussy shit. So their first two albums ripped to me, but they're another band. After that, they just wrote their version. Like Avenged Sevenfold went metal butt rock, Atreyu went pussy metalcore butt rock.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like it kind of got to they like maybe they're approached by that same thing and they're saying like, look guys, this is just a flash in the pan, or what do you really want it? Like, I want to help you guys maximize this opportunity, blah blah blah. Like there's probably that kind of talk. And again, I can't even like it's like comics that that are on their shit. Comics that are like, oh yeah, I post 3 clips a week and I do this and I do that. And it's like, man, I envy that motivation, that knowledge, that perceptiveness to be like, yeah, we got to strike where the iron is hot, and we got to, because it literally they did it perfectly, but it's one of those things that at the cost of what, losing even a portion. There's still probably plenty of people that love Waking the Fallen that were still on board. I just felt like I don't know how you can be a fan of Avenged Sevenfold real time, like from listening to Waking the Fallen, and then the day that it comes out, listening to City of Evil and going like, cool, this is really good. I like this angle. This is, you know what I mean? Like to go like, still my guys. It's like one of those things like it felt like such a real life personal experience. And maybe it's just how I intake music. It's how I ingest this stuff. But it's like when I go to listen to City of Evil, I'm not like betrayed. I'm confused. I'm like, what happened to my guys? Where'd my guys go? It says Avenged Sevenfold. Like,
can I throw this idea at you?
Yeah.
I just thought about this. I bet you, actually, they did pretty good on Waking the Fallen. I'm on their Wikipedia. It debuted at number 10 in the U.S.
Damn.
Wait.
So
a
yeah.
minute.
So literally.
Okay. So here, real quick. Sorry. So this is confusing. Now I'm more curious about this because Waking the Fallen debuted at number 10. They were on Hopeless Records. No shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were on Warner Brothers and then they debuted at 30, but it sold. I mean, actually, it sold about the same. Okay, so I'd be curious to look deeper into that because I know for me, I found out about.
So was it worth it?
I mean, they probably just happy to have big houses. So for them, yes.
Yeah.
They don't seem like they're too. Anyway, sorry, I was about to get so cunty. But because I know for me, I know Backcountry was the first time I ever heard Avenged Sevenfold. So this was the point I was trying to get to earlier. Sorry, is I think a lot of people were introduced. Like, you got to think about the mainstream audience that still likes Avenged Sevenfold. They probably don't like Waking the Fallen, right? And if you're introduced to them on City of Evil, you're probably happy with anything that comes after that. Although City of Evil is still, like, I gotta say this, if it's like the best version, like I was saying it before, it's what bands like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue like wish they could be.
Right.
It's the greatest version of butt rock I've ever heard.
Yeah, and
it's so fun. I gotta give them props. It's not like, I will say this, like, both albums were great, but they kind of, after a while, like, none of these albums got any business being an hour long. Like, I think they both, but they impressively both of them held my attention pretty strong for about 40 minutes.
And that's the conclusion kind of that I came to also was like that's that's what I think they were always going to end up being, this band either way. Like this is kind of inevitable, but it's also like they both are. The only thing I will say that I did in my research that I will argue with somebody online is people were calling this a prog album, City of Evil.
Oh,
They're
that's
like,
crazy.
and I'm like, it's absolutely not they regressed. It is a reg album. It's a reg ass album. That's what it is. It's like they did not progress at all. They've regressed to a different genre, but definitely more there's a lot more. It's almost like like big fish, small pond. It's almost like the big fish went back to the small fish, big pond. What is it?
Maybe. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, because I got to be honest, like Waking the Fallen's very good, but it is, I think they laid out such a clear game plan for what to do with metalcore that it is something that does sound dated. Like while it's very good, you go, this sounds early 2000s. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know, like if you listen to this just popped in my head. Like if you listen to Dillinger
Got him.
Escape Plan, Call Me When It's a Frog album.
Got him.
Fuck you.
I'm gonna go back and find that post, and I'm gonna comment that. I'll give you Dunbar. I'm gonna give you credit.
I love that.
Dunbar says frog album, idiot.
Fucking idiot. Yo, you know what Dunbar's saying about you, dumbass? No, it's like Converge is a really good band. Converge and Dillinger Escape Plan, they're a really good band that you listen to and you go, wait a minute, music sounded like this in 99.
Yeah.
They have a good, but like when I hear Waking the Fallen, I immediately I go, wow, this is very 2003. 2000s.
Yeah.
I will say City of Evil, just because I think City of Evil, it's the same thing that makes Blink-182 sound so talented and shit, is like the genre they're in, there's a low bar. And so what they were going for with City of Evil, there's a very low bar, and they fucking leaped that and exceeded it like by a big way. So
that's what I think that's what I was trying to say.
That to me is why City of Evil sticks out, whatever it is, 20 years later. City of Evil stands out 20 years later a little bit more to me. But if you're into the metalcore shit, Waking the Fallen's where it's at.
I think that's what I was trying to say was, and I guess the better example would be like, it's almost like Nickelback's drummer, I think, is a metal drummer who's playing with a butt rock band. So like he's doing too much, and it makes the butt rock sound very metalish, but it's a metal album. You know what I mean? Like it's a hair metal album that you're making sound like a, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like his drum, especially this guy, Backcountry in general, where he's just like those crazy, like weird fills that he's doing, all the crazy rolls that he does. Like it's like you're acting like you're in a drum line, but you're playing for butt rock. You're playing butt rock. So it's kind of it's such, but the shift from the two albums was the main thing I wanted to focus on, because you're right. They do definitely have the same vibe, but they sound like they're from different bands. It's like a different band covered a Avenged Sevenfold album. It's really
kind of
weird.
like when
it sounds familiar, but it still sounds very confusing.
You're not a big Newfound Glory guy, right?
No.
Yeah, so a couple albums in, they put out an album called Coming Home, I think it was called. No, I don't want to go to Newfound Glory's website. I'm going to go to their Wikipedia page. Sorry, I'm pulling it up real quick. Yeah. In 2006, they put out an album called Coming Home, and they had already put out, like, they've established their sound as, the one of the big pop punk bands at the time. And then Coming Home comes out, and it has this like soft rock, indie rock feel to it, and it still had the essence of Newfound Glory. But it's like, what if Newfound Glory wrote a soft rock album? Still good, and that's the same thing with Avenged Sevenfold. It's like, what if Avenged Sevenfold wrote a metalcore album? What if Avenged Sevenfold wrote butt rock? And it's like all in the same. It's like Ernest Goes Somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still Ernest.
Yeah. It is funny though. Like they have that. This feels like this is the more the band that they have. This is the version of the band that they will have the most longevity with. So I'm not even saying, I'm not being critical of the band. I'm just saying I didn't know what happened. But I think like really it feels like City of Evil. And you know what? Write this down as a title if you want. City of Evil. That was a business decision. I think it really was.
I don't have a pen.
Can you guys, can you email that to us?
Can you email it to us?
Just put it in the chat. No, I think it's
I
like
know
a
a
thing
good
where it's like
title.
a business decision.
It's all business.
It's all Waking the Fallen to City of Evil. It was all business.
Strictly business.
Strictly business.
No,
Yeah.
that's the vibe. That's the vibe I get from this band. Is like it is, and I think I said it before. I do have some sympathies for, because there's a lot of, actually, you know what, in hardcore, and this might be this could possibly be the direction to go on the next episode, but like in hardcore, like one of the biggest bands right now is Turnstile. Their drummer came from Trapped Under Ice. Trapped Under Ice is one of the best hardcore bands ever, but they didn't start like making, I mean, I don't know if at any point was Trapped Under Ice financially any of those dudes' main thing, but because of like nostalgia and their just legendary status, they're able to do a lot of shows and stuff, and everyone thinks about them. But I think when they were doing it, it was a rough go of it. But so they're doing hardcore. Dude leaves that, joins Turnstile. They have like a hardcore writing style, but it is a much more mainstream rock sound, and they're the biggest band in the fucking world. Another one, I don't know if you've ever heard of Vane FM, but I think I was telling, they wrote, I forget the name of their album. I got so much fucking phlegm in my goddamn throat. That's why they make these sounds. What's their album called? Error Zone from 2018, considered one of the like greatest, like, I don't know what you call it, hardcore metalcore albums ever. And then two of those dudes leave the band. Vane breaks up. They start Fleshwater, which is kind of like a shoegaze band. And it's like, I think you can do this shit for so long. And it's like what Jeff Rosenstock said in the Bomb the Music Industry documentary. He's like, I gotta make money at some point of this. He's like, I'm in my 30s. He's like, I have to make money at some point, because sometimes, being artistically true to yourself, eventually you need health insurance. So like, I don't like blame these bands for, and it's not even like selling out or compromising. It's like a pivot. It's a pivot, because you're like, I can't just be doing this like crazy, fucking, in the context of broader music, like avant-garde shit. Not avant-garde's not the right word, but it's like, I can't be doing this like crazy underground shit that people just appreciate. Because appreciation doesn't pay the fucking bills.
Well, it's like when you're in comedy, the thing of like, there's only so many good opportunities, before you're like, I've had enough opportunities. Thank you. Like, I would like to get, like, if once you've had like 10 years of opportunities, I feel like you should start getting paid somewhat regularly. But again, who hasn't? There's no governing body. It's another rule set where you're like, what the fuck? But when you have these things where like these bands, like a musician, like at a certain point when we're younger, like again, we're I think we talked about this on the last one, where I was just like, I want it to be fast. I want to play the AFI shit. When we were talking about the AFI albums, it was like me going like, no, I want fast hardcore AFI. I don't need nuanced, layered AFI.
Goth rock.
Yeah, I hate the newest AFI version, but I don't hate them for doing it. It's not like a thing. It's just,
I thought that was out today. It's next week. Sorry.
I know we almost kept our streak alive of like accidentally talking about relevant bands.
Yeah.
But the fact that like that stuff like that comes out and you're like,
oh no, it is out today. Let's go.
Nice. We did it.
We did it.
But it's like the same, it's the same impulse where I'm just like, no, this isn't, I don't like this. I don't want to continue this. But back in the day when I wanted that, it was like, why aren't you doing that for me? It was, you guys are pussies. You sold out, blah, 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 blah. But like now it's like, oh, no, they're just they're just going off into this direction, and I can just appreciate other bands. I had a good run with No Effects. I had a great run for as a favorite band for the longest time. We had a really good run with Every Time I Die. I feel like also once I became a fan of theirs, where they just never really disappointed me.
Yeah.
So like until they did, you know what I mean? And it's just it's inevitable that even your favorite bands will eventually you're maybe not going to grow with them, and that's okay. But Avenged Sevenfold was probably the quickest turnaround ever in
Yeah.
my music loving history, and where I was so offended before, now I'm like, oh no, it's just business.
Yeah. And then
It's
also
only
too,
business.
well, and also too, you gotta like look at the bigger picture, and it's like some bands don't even have one Waking the Fallen.
Right. Yeah. Or they don't get their Waking the Fallen until like 13 years in. And you're right. As somebody who has not made money in a business for 10 years, eventually, yeah, you're like, I would like to make some money. I would like
Yeah.
to I feel professional enough. Like, let's do it. But again, there's no, at least with them, they probably got a manager, especially if they, was it debuted whenever they did, to be like, oh, okay, well, like management got in the air. Somebody was like, hey guys, we can do something with this. What direction do you want to go? And they made a decision and said, this is what's going to be the most sustainable. What do you think? They said, that's good. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like
Business.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's what maturing is. You're going to be wrong. You're going to be, you may be onto something, but a lot of times where you're like, when I heard this, I was not upset. I was not confused. That came later where I was like, these guys fucking sold out. They're fucking suck now. What the fuck? Nope. Just business. And I was confused.
I will
That's what
say
it was.
this though. There is there is part of me that looks at some of this shit and goes like Rise Against is one, because like their past couple albums are not just like, actually the last Rise Against album was like impressively bad. It was one of those it was one of those things like, dude, beyond the music being bad, it was like, why did you record this like this? It's like
Yeah.
it was like on the vocals were on par. The decision making on the vocals was like an on par level of stupidity with the fucking snare in Saint Anger. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah. Where
why
you're like, what is going on here?
you've done this right a million times. Why are you doing it like this time? But even like a band like, I don't know, a band like Rise Against, where it's like, you guys know how to write cool, thought-provoking political music.
And that's what you got famous for.
That's what you got famous.
Change. Right.
That's what you got famous for. And then it's like, dude, I'll give you a fucking unthought out one where you just kind of like go through the motions. I'll give you one or two. But then it gets to a certain point where it's like, okay, you're all fucking rich now. You can live off the discography. Stop. What the fuck are you still doing this for? That's the part I don't fucking get. And again, because I'm glass half full Andy. Maybe it's like their fucking record deals, because I know how predatory those record deals are for new artists. Because you got to think about it too. Does a band like Rise Against get signed for a fucking 7 record deal?
Right.
And they've wanted to move on creatively 4 albums in, so now they're just pumping out horse shit to get out of their record deal? I don't know if that's Rise Against, but there's all these examples. So, but there does get to a point where you're like, you guys don't, it's the fact that like when people are they're financially good and they still act like bitches or still pump out horse shit. I'm like, what's going on, man?
Yeah. I think it's also interesting sometimes when you do see the Leap attempt and it doesn't really take. And I feel like Thrice was another band that kind of tried that, where like
that's a good point. Yeah. Sometimes it's literally just, you want to pivot, but it just doesn't hold. It just doesn't catch on.
Yeah.
Because their new sound's not bad. It just didn't catch on.
I think their latest album. Oh no. But I think their latest album, their past couple were like, okay. They're going back to truly kind of, I feel like the real like Thrice is the artistic, the Elements EPs that they did.
Yeah.
the Visu, stuff like that, where it's like a little bit more experimental with different shit, but still in that same kind of genre of like screamo type. Like, I honestly don't know what to categorize Thrice as now.
They've
But
been
like
like
what
3 bands, right?
right, they've been the screamo band, they've been the more experimental, like I guess alt rock or rock, but even that like is too, it's too plain. Like
Yeah.
if there is a post hardcore,
Fuck.
they're post hardcore.
You're goddamn. I was gonna jump in with the joke. You were literally read my mind. I go, dude. I think. Wait.
This
I
is
can't-
literally post hardcore. This is
Wait. I can't categorize a band that used to be emo. Post hardcore.
right. Yeah, like that's where they get all shuffled into. This is the miscellaneous folder of like,
Yeah. They
but
should like
it
just throw
kinda
them in the
fits.
post. Just throw them in the post hardcore bin.
Yeah.
It's
So,
just-
but then they kind of tried to do this more commercial, like almost pop rock, Christian rock, like
Yeah.
radio rock sound that just really was so washed out and shit.
dude,
that-
I didn't know they did that.
It was
my
so bad.
reaction, dude. My reaction when I found out that they did that, I was like, "This is the band that wrote "Artist in the Ambulance."
And if that's what you want to do, we don't want it. Like that, like literally, I'm not like, it's one of those things of like, this is, I don't care if it's business, I will vote with my dollar. No.
So you just made me remember something. I do you in contextually in what we're saying about like Avenged Sevenfold, a band that actually it's not a perfect 1-to-1. I'll just say this. So you remember the starting line?
Mhm.
They wrote if you guys don't know, tell me what you thought about when you were older. Like, by the way, you listen to Waking the Fallen. When I say metal, when I say mainstream metalcore, that's what I mean. When I realized this because I started listening to the starting line again, and their album, I think it's called "Say It Like You Mean It." The starting line, yeah, "Say It Like You Mean It." I realized, I go, when I'm talking about emo, because when I say emo, I mean a more fast-paced, up like faster drum parts and shit like that. I realized, I go, "Say It Like You Mean It" is what I mean when I say emo. So that comes out in 2002. They put out 3 albums. They haven't put an album out. They stopped putting out new shit in like 2006. Randomly come back a week or two ago with a new album, and it fucking like rips. Like,
Oh, wow. Nice.
dude, they took it's crazy to take 19 years off your band, come back and actually have a good, strong, fresh sound. Because it's funny too, because they're one of the bands that sort of started a lot of the they're at the early inception of a lot of like modern sounds in mainstream music. And then you can hear that they have those early elements, and then they're also bringing back they have the early elements, and they're also incorporating a lot of new sounds. So to hear a band that's like, God, like fucking 20, 30 years old and to still pump out a fresh sound, I got to give major props to the starting line, because their new album, what's it fucking called? Eternal Youth. Their new album goes fucking hard.
I was just gonna say, I thought Thrice did something similar, because I remember them saying that they were taking a break or going to be stepping away for a while, kind of thing. With like after, I think Major Minor, I feel like, yeah, must have been Major Minor, because they're pretty prolifically putting shit out, whether it be a live release or
That's what I
something like that.
realized. Thrice never took a break.
Well, and that's the thing is like, but they did, the longest break they had was between 2011 and 2015 or 16, sorry. And that's when that's kind of the same idea. I feel like they kind of did the same idea. They did, and they just put out something in Horizons West. They just put out something in 2005.
Okay.
Or 25. Sorry. Actually, when did this come out?
They just put out new music. Like they have an album coming out, I think.
Today. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah. They've been putting out they've been putting out new music for the past like 2-3 months.
Do you want to do the Starting Line's new album versus Thrice's new album?
Oh, did they put out a whole album today?
Yeah, Horizons West.
I didn't know. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's why you were spazzing like that, because the whole album came out today.
Yeah, literally. I know that they've been they put out Horizons East, I think a couple years ago or a year ago.
Okay.
2021. Holy shit. So
All
that
right.
was the last newer album that they put out.
All right, yeah, let's do that because I've been wanting to talk about this Starting Line album.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, let's do that. And also, I do want to eventually, I want to do Vane FM because I talked about them earlier. I would like to do Vane FM and Fleshwater at some point because I think that both those bands fucking rip. But yes, next week we'll talk about Thrice in the Starting Line. Hell yeah, dude.
Eternal Youth, is that right? Yeah.
Yes, Eternal
Nice.
Youth
And Horizons West.
Horizons West. Hell yeah.
Nice. Nice. I actually like that happened that naturally. I'm sorry if you had that in mind already. I apologize, but
no, this one makes more sense because the Vane, the both those albums been out, so that one we can do whenever. This one feels more topical because, also if we can be business minded like Avenged Sevenfold,
yeah,
doing a Thrice one and Starting Line one probably is smarter.
We're not doing metalcore anymore, is what we're saying.
Yeah. We're moving past metalcore and going mainstream.
We're doing emo and pop only. Only the lowest form we go is emo. We're going pop or above.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, Drag the Lake.